Hi, my beautiful people. This is Shade of Jade, and I am Jade. Welcome to my channel. I am doing another Halloween edition, a true story of a possessed doll, because apparently that is my theme this Halloween. This is my son's costume, and as soon as I saw that he had little dreads in here, I was like, I just gotta wear this today for my video. So I'm not anything in particular. I just love playing with makeup, and so I played with makeup, put a lot on my face, obviously, and put his little hat on, and I feel spooky. All right, guys, so today we are gonna cover the true story of Robert the doll. Now, this is a very interesting one. I do have a story that I did last week of Annabelle the doll. So if you haven't seen that, I will link it down below in the description box. Click on it, watch it, give it a like, thumbs up. Also give this one a like and a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, please, 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 and hit the notification button so you can get notified every time I post a video. Most of my videos that I plan on doing are lifestyle makeup based videos. I'm going to be doing short stories. I plan on doing like not true crime so much, a little bit here and there of true crime, but like scary stories, conspiracies, aliens, all that good stuff. I like spooky stuff. So if you see me looking down every now and then, I did write notes. I am so fairly new to the YouTube game. Give me a break. If you see my mustache starting to sweat, because I'm a little nervous, all right? But you know what? I got my little friendly friend here, a little glass of wine. This is also from Michigan, where I'm from. It's called Detention Wine. It's from Peninsula Cellars. It is a sweet red table wine. If you're ever in Michigan, you got to go down to Traverse City, or should I say up to Traverse City. Go down the peninsulas and wine taste. It's a good time. All right, let's get started. First of all, I wanted to mention that this story has inspired 2 movies. One of which is like an actual series of movies and very popular, so I'll be surprised if you don't know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the good old Child's Play, starring Chucky the doll. He's scary. I mean, I don't know if it's his red hair, guys, but I'm kind of scared of dolls. Like, my dad used to buy me porcelain dolls, and they scared the shit out of me. But I didn't want to seem ungrateful, so I would just like lay under my sheets and pray to Jesus that none of the dolls would like kill me. Am I the only person? Did you guys have porcelain dolls? Let me know down below. Anyways, getting off subject. Yes, Chucky was inspired by Robert the doll. But also, let me look at the year, 2015. In 2015, another movie was inspired by Robert the doll, and it was actually called Robert. I did actually watch that movie because I was searching this and I never seen it before, and it is spooky season, so why not? And it was alright, but I mean, I think it portrayed a better picture of Robert the doll than Chucky, but obviously Chucky's better because Chucky's an icon. Come on. All right, so let's get into the story. This story is based not only on Robert the doll, but his owner, which was Eugene Robert Odo. Now, Eugene named the doll Robert, as his middle name is, but his name is actually, well, they call him Gene. So Gene is the owner and Robert is the doll. I just want you guys to get that so I don't get all messed up. I've heard 3 versions of who gave Gene Robert. First version that's most popular is a servant of his, because they did have servants. They were aristocratic, rich, they had a lot of money. So they did have servants, and that's the most popular one, the one that is most told that the servant gave him the doll. There is also a version where the grandpa gave him the doll, and he was actually purchased from Germany. And another version, the aunt gave him the doll, and she purchased him from Germany. So I don't know which one is legit. I tend to believe that maybe the grandpa or the aunt did, and then they said the servant, because the servant gives off the most interesting story. So of course, I'm going to tell you guys the most interesting version of the story, because you'll see why it's more interesting if the servant gave it to him. And so that's what you're going to get from here. A lot of research was done. I don't know if any of you know for sure who actually gave him the doll. Pop it in the comments down below. Alright, let's go. So in the early 1900s, Jean was given the doll, Robert, by one of his mother's servants. His mother's name was Minnie, by the way. Minnie Otto. And after he received this doll, he became very, very attached to it. Which is fine. He's a young child. A lot of children get attached to their toys, their dolls, etc. But this toy is kind of creepy because it stood at 3 feet. A lot of what I read is that it wasn't actually meant to be a doll to play with, but more of a piece to display out. Even though that's kind of creepy too. But you know, it's the early 1900s. Let's forgive them for being creepy. So he got attached. He would sit him in the dinner table with him and pretend feed him. That's fine. Take him everywhere. But he would even sleep with him. And the parents would walk, you know, back and forth to the room, and they would hear Jean talking to the doll, Robert. And then they would hear Robert, the doll, talking back to Jean. However, they did not think that it was Robert the doll talking back. They thought, oh, how cute, Jean's pretending that Robert's talking back to him in his own little voice. Ha ha ha. You know, I mean, kids do that shit. So, I can get it. Anyways, one day, I don't know if it was the mom or the dad, one of them was going through the room, and he actually saw, is what they say, Jean talking to Robert, and then Robert talking in a different voice that was very deep, and Jean's mouth did not move. Right after that, I threw away the fucking doll. The end. Goodbye, Robert. But no. They kept him. Maybe Jean. I don't know what they thought. Anyways, so time goes by, and all of a sudden, like, another night, the parents hear a commotion in Jean's room. Robert is with him, obviously, as usual. They hear things banging against the walls, things just moving around. They hear Jean screaming out, and so they run in, obviously. And when they go in, there's stuff just scattered everywhere, a big mess. And Jean was like, you know what, it was Robert. And I don't know if, I'll give my opinions at the end. That's what I'll say. I'll give my opinions that may be why the parents were okay at the end. But okay, so that happened, and the parents were like, you know what, we ain't dealing with this no more. We're putting that doll in the attic, which who can blame them? So they put him in the attic, and even after putting him in the attic, neighbors would call them complaining, saying that their children would say that Robert would be up in the attic window staring down at them creepily. Are you fucking serious? Anyways, So time passes on, obviously. Gene sort of forgets about the doll. I mean, he grows out of it, whatever. The doll has been in the attic. He's moved out, lived his life. I don't know what he's done in between. All I can tell you is that he is an artist and an author. So finally his father and his mother passed away, and he inherits the home. So he goes back to the home with his wife Anne, and they re-find Robert the doll. And Anne feels kind of creeped out by this doll, which, you know what, possessed or not, it is a 3-foot doll that is creepy looking. I feel creeped out too. So whatever, Gene's like, no, no, no. He hangs out with Robert like he's 10, I mean, or younger. They have him at dinner time. They even have them in their bedroom at night. Now, I've read that Gene actually wanted Robert in the bed with them, but his wife Anne was like, oh no, we ain't doing that, baby. But she compromised and let the doll stay in the room. It was a different time, okay? Women didn't really have the voices that they have now. Like, this is probably before 1950s, because he had Robert early 1900s, so yeah, before 1950s. So I guess, you know, even though I would say this, I would do this, she didn't really probably have the rights to, which is another story in itself. But anyways, so Gene kept Robert in the room with them, and Anne would say later that she would hear giggling and noises and commotions, and whenever she would go in the room, that she would hear this giggling or movements, Robert would be there, which is creepy. She also stated, and this is also true, that Gene would be very moody. He would change behavior. He even became physically abusive with her. He would become very irate, become physically abusive, and then all of a sudden go back to his nice self, you know. And so she thinks this was all because of the doll. He would even start feeding the doll again at his old age, like they were attached again, like he was a child. I don't know what I would do. I mean, I just feel bad for her at the time that they're living in. I totally understand why she couldn't do anything about it, but this is for real. This is true. He was physically abusive with her. So anyways, time goes on. Both Anne and Gene pass, and this is 1974 when the house finally goes up for sale, and it gets bought in 1976, and the doll's still in there. Okay, so they get a new owner, and the little girl that lives there, she's only 7 years old too. She finds Robert the doll and also gets super attached to this thing. Like, weird. So she does everything with this doll, and the parents ain't playing games at this point. It is the 1970s. I mean, you know, it's different time. They've heard Robert the doll speaking in the room again. They were like, no bitch, we ain't dealing with this. So they went to the church, they got the doll blessed. Still creepy things were happening. They're like, nope, we're not doing this. So what did they do? They decided not to throw away the doll because they believed in demonic stuff. In the 1970s, it was rampant that, you know, like devil worship, all that good, not good stuff, oh my god, all that bad stuff was happening. So they were scared to throw it away. They knew, they thought, if we throw this doll away, something bad is going to happen to our family. We got to figure out something else to do with it. So they gave it to, I gotta read it because I keep forgetting, Fort East Martello Museum, and that is in Key West, Florida. Okay? So they gave it there. They brought Robert the doll there. And what they did is they put a casing around it, just like they did with Annabelle the doll. And spooky stuff still happens, okay? If you ask employees, they can still see expressions of his changing, which I wish they could take a picture of that, because that's creepy. But here's why they can't take a picture of it. Supposedly, you should not take a picture of Robert the doll without his permission. Supposedly, all the pictures that are online that you can actually post, people have asked his permission to take the picture. If you do not ask, he will distort, or the spirit that possesses him will distort that picture. The picture will not come out the way it's supposed to, or even worse, horrible things will happen to you. Accidents have happened, deaths have happened, so much so that around his casing are apology letters from people that took his picture without his permission, asking for his forgiveness. Also, and this is funny to me, I can't help but laugh, Robert is known to have a sweet tooth. So, like, he eats sweets. So people also leave him candy. Yeah, he eats the candy, you know, when no one's looking, I guess. It's a little funny. So anyways, that's kind of the end of that story. However, I want to go back to if the servant gave the doll. Minnie, Eugene's mom, if you remember, she was known to not be very nice to her servants. So it is said that one of her servants put a spell on Robert the doll before giving it to Jean, so that it is inhibited by an evil spirit, because Minnie was not a very nice, I mean, they say servants, but I mean, it's like a slave ownership. And if you're not nice to people who help you, what do you expect? And supposedly Minnie walked in on her servants gathered around doing voodoo worship. And you know, it poses the question, were they really doing voodoo, or were they really just doing their own kind of prayers the way they wanted to whoever they believed in? Times were different back then. You couldn't do things out of the norm without being, you know, a witch of some kind. So I'm thinking maybe the servant name goes around because it's easier and like better. It's a better story. I mean, it could be true, but I don't know if the servant possessed the doll. I mean, if the grandpa gave him the doll, obviously the grandpa probably, most likely, and the aunt did not possess the doll. So what is the story? You know, also, Gene is eccentric. He's an artist. He's a writer. Maybe he was actually acting out this whole thing. Like, maybe he was making a mess, blaming it on Robert the doll, because he was just eccentric. You know, he thought it was funny. Maybe he believed it himself, for all we know. Also, maybe he was a ventriloquist a little bit. Maybe he could do the deep voice, you know, that they heard Robert the doll doing while his lips were shut. I mean, he was a smart kid. I mean, he could have been a smart kid. He was an artist. He was an author. Or maybe it's true. Maybe the servants, regardless of who bought the doll, possessed it at some point, because Minnie was a bitch master. I mean, how else can you put it? She was mean. And maybe they wanted to curse their family. I don't know. but all I know is there are a lot of things to back up the fact that this doll is possessed. What are your opinions? Let me know in the comment box down below. I hope you enjoyed today's little episode. If you like what you heard and you want to hear more, please give me a thumbs up, like my channel, follow it, and hit the notifications. Thank you so much for listening to me. Have a beautiful Halloween. I might be back. I might do a live on Halloween. I don't know. If you think I should do a live on Halloween, let me know in the comment box down below. Love you guys. Bye.